updated the title block from the previous meeting. So the title block has been updated to show the correct January 5th, 2026 date at 4:30.
Thank you.
Move to accept as amended.
Second.
Great. Sean, can any discussion before we call a vote? Okay. Sean, can we have a roll call to call the vote?
Yes, Kathleen.
I'll pass since I was not at the meeting.
All right. Ed.
Yes.
Courtney K.
Yes.
Christopher.
I was not present at the last meeting as we had an all-team admin for SPS.
Okay, so abstain.
Yes.
All right. Emily.
Yes.
Daniel.
Yes.
Suraj.
Looks like Siraj is having connectivity issues. It's dropped
Okay.
again.
All right. Rich.
Yes.
Mayor Wilson.
Yes.
Andre.
Yes.
Eric.
I'm new here, so I'll abstain.
All right. Is there anyone who came in after I called the original roll that I missed?
I'm in right now.
Oh, is that
Ramona.
Dr. Carmona? These
Yeah.
are just vote for the meeting minutes of last week.
Yes.
All right.
Sean, I'm sorry, who seconded that?
Dan.
Daniel. So I have 8 for, 3 abstentions, none against.
Great. You will notice we don't have a CAG update this time, so we'll move right into new business, and I will pass it over to Perkins Eastman.
Great. Good afternoon, everyone. Let me see if I get my screen shared successfully. There we go. All right, so here we are, meeting number 4. Advance today's agenda.
Lisa, the screen's not up for me. I don't know if anybody else can see it.
Yeah,
it's not up.
Okay, let me try again. How about now?
Success.
Yep.
Yes, okay. All right, thank you for letting me know that. Okay. All right. That's my mark. Okay, great. All right, so agenda for today, we're going to give a quick project update. Bob's going to share an update from our visioning workshop. We'll talk about community engagement, and then we'll share our preliminary options and some preliminary evaluation criterias that we'll go through and look for your comments on. So starting with the PDP update on our work plan, we're a little more than halfway through the PDP phase. We've been working on preliminary options for both 115 Sycamore Street as well as the Trum Field site for both the 650 students and the 925 student schools. We've developed preliminary evaluation criteria in which we'll share with you tonight and look for your feedback. That'll be important for our meeting next month. We'll be sending these options over to our cost estimators probably later on this week so we can get some preliminary costs to include in our refined evaluation criteria. We would also like to propose having a joint meeting on March 2nd with both the SBC and the school committee so that we can get approval on the space summary and the educational program so that when we make our submission at the end of the month, we have that all ready to go. So just wanted to put that out there as an option. All right, so let me just walk you through a few more updates from work that we've done over the past month. We did have our MSBA kickoff meeting back on January 7th. The city's been helping us set up meetings with various city departments so that we can gather information on city standards, project goals, and other recommendations. We actually met with the engineering and DPW last week, and we have a few more set up this week. We've also been working with Ken and the Somerville communication team to develop a community outreach plan, which we'll look at a little more detail in a few minutes. And we had a full day of visioning sessions back on January 20th, which Bob's going to give an update on. And then just looking at our existing condition progress, our survey team has sent us a draft of the site survey. They're continuing to do a little bit more work out on site to gather all the missing pieces so that we can wrap that survey up. Our hazardous materials consultant had visited the site last week to do a little bit more analysis and testing on the existing building. And we are summarizing the existing conditions of the building so that we can send this information to our cost estimators so they can begin to price out some of the base repair and renovation options. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Bob to give an update on visioning.
Sure. Any questions on schedule first? Okay. If not, some of you may have participated in the various activities that MLP and Integrated Design, specifically Mike Pirolo, has led. The series of activities had included a shadow day at each school where we got a chance to walk and look and observe, but also speak with the principals. We conducted school tours on January 13th. The visioning session, which is really the centerpiece of activities, and I'll go through some detail on this, was January 20th. And all along, we've been working with the educational leadership team in program workshops that have allowed us to kind of get granular into the space summary and the various needs. So to go into a little bit more detail, next slide. The Visioning Forum had about 60 plus participants that included ELT members, teachers, specialists from both schools, parents and community members, city leaders, and facility staff. The purpose was to really dive in and have a shared understanding of pre-K-8 learners, how to make learning stick, and begin to identify or affirm Winter Hill's identity as a community innovation school. The outcomes were guiding educational principles, and this helps shape the decision-making and the design, and also exploring how learning environments can support the identity and the principles. So this is really meaningful work, and I will say that to do it in this forum, it's really a way to get a cross-section of the community. It is not the only thing that's going to contribute to the vision and the goals, obviously, for this project. That's what we will be working with school committee, school building committee, and the greater community on. But this is a good foundation. So next slide.
I'm sorry, can you pause for a moment?
Sure.
Courtney should be promoted to a panelist.
I'm in now. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, the next slide, yeah. So some of the outcomes, the guiding principles, what we heard was the design must be developmentally driven, meaning age specifically driven. Whole child is central, so looking at social, emotional, belonging, well-being for the students is integral into this project. Flexibility, of course, is always essential for a project, school project. Equity and inclusion needing to be built in. There was much talk about Winter Hill as a community hub, so helping to strengthen the family engagement part, but also resources and access by the broader community. Learning is experiential and collaborative, so creating an environment that is collaborative, that fosters these activities is also important, and also fostering pride and shared ownership is important. And these are just highlights. There will be a full report that'll break down all the activities and guidelines. Next slide. So I think what Mike shared here are some highlights. On the left-hand side, it's really a little bit more towards the teaching and learning. So some of this is what you've just heard, but creating opportunities for movement and play indoors and out, giving choice and agency in the learning, making sure the environments are educationally, developmentally appropriate, belonging and connection being, again, critical, making sure we have the space, the time and the space for all kinds of a variety of spaces, collaboration, small group, and independent learning. And then again, embedding the wellness and sensory supports into the school. On the right-hand side, this gets more deliberately into the architecture, what the architecture can be doing, what the design can be doing. So what we're hearing is, organizing the building for those kind of age group differences, creating a purposeful separation and also connection. So kind of having age level groups having their own space, but then of course we have the shared spaces where everything comes together. Streamlining the circulation and arrival patterns is going to be important. Creating adaptable, well-supported learning spaces, again, for the small groups, for intervention specialists, and in a variety of different instruction. Building in wellness and sensory supports. Again, you can see a lot of repeats here. So from some of the other statements about guiding principles into the architecture, and certainly accessibility, really a universal approach to access to the school and very community oriented. So probably no surprise here that these are becoming the foundation and the focus. I don't know if anybody that participated has anything. We did receive some really positive feedback about the activity. It was honestly pretty energetic for a full day of commitment in a really funky space. Loved the dojo, but and the heat came on eventually. So, but I welcome anybody that wants to add to the experience or things that they heard. But we'll also be sharing a full report on this.
Hey, Bob, when you share the report, any chance that you can also share the timeline that you show earlier on? I'm curious as to just getting a sense of where things are. But if you can share this, that would be great.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right. Very good. We will talk a little bit about the community engagement. So as Ed mentioned, we've been working with the communication group with the city. They've been great, helping to guide us through what they think is best and what will fit Somerville best. So the community engagement piece really kicked off with the mayor. He had met coffee hour with the Brown community back on January 23rd. It was about an hour long. Both PMA and Perkins Eastman were there as well, mostly just to listen in and get a sense of some of the concerns that the Brown community had. We will have our coffee hour with the mayor and the Winter Hill community tomorrow at the Edgerly School. And then there's virtual coffee hour set up after that as a follow-up for both Winter Hill and Brown. We're planning to do community meetings, walk and talks at the site on the 28th and on the 7th of March. And then a community forum for more of the larger group on March 3rd. So just to kind of give a little bit of a sense of what the walk and talk could look like. We're thinking that, maybe we start by meeting at Brianna's and grabbing a hot coffee or a hot drink, and then we would walk around the school site, stop at a few key areas around the site to talk to the community about things that they feel really work well or things that they feel need improvements. But this will give the community opportunity to ask questions, give us a chance to hear their feedback, and really get the goal is really to engage the community early so that we can keep them involved and informed throughout the process. So just really want to get out there and start to meet people face to face. Any questions?
Just a quick question. I saw the coffee hour. Is there a night hour included with that. One of the feedback that I got from parents was, can we actually provide the options of a daytime and a late afternoon or nighttime? So I
So
didn't know
I
which one
think that's the
included.
idea of the virtual coffee hours these will be at 6:30.
Okay.
I have that right, Ken?
Yes, that's correct. The
And
virtual coffee hours will be evening.
the walk and talk is only at 10 o'clock time, or?
Yeah, I think we're still trying to fine tune the time with communications. I know they were gonna start to reach out and plan that. So they
But to,
that time on the 28th is it's a Saturday, in which the everyone had thought that was a time when people would be more available to walk around the site.
Or kids have activities. I think we can continue to work that through. Mayor Wilson.
Yeah, thanks. Given what we just heard about the question about the evening coffee hour, maybe a suggestion that we rebrand those from coffee hours to just a virtual community meeting or something.
Yeah.
It might be less confusing for people who hear coffee hour and think morning.
Yep, I agree. I did actually look at that myself, but I didn't want to change anything. Okay, great. So we can update that to a virtual
Courtney Kozlo.
hour.
And then also adding, the city might want to put, or the district might want to put out another email about the evening ones. The first email came out with the morning session for Winter Hill. And then Principal Goslin's newsletter on Friday did have the evening session, but I think not everybody might see all of it. I might want to put out another message on the 5th, about the 5th.
Thank you for the suggestion.
Great. All right. I am going to hand it over to Mike now to take us through some of the preliminary options that we've been working on.
Good. Thanks. Lisa, did you want to move this to the back of the deck, or do we want to touch on this here?
I wasn't sure. This is where,
okay.
yeah, I guess we can just start. This is where we left off at our at last month's meeting, where we had done the test fits and talked about how we were going to evaluate the site. So, here's where things have evolved since then.
All right, thanks, Lisa. Yeah, so last time, hey, good evening, everyone. Last time we took a kind of a high-level massing view, the one similar to what you're looking at now, seeing the impact of the scale on the neighborhood, but also the impact on the site itself. But now we're going to dig a little bit deeper, dig into some preliminary planning based on the current space program, but also a lot of the feedback and great ideas that Bob and Mike and the team have heard at some of these visioning sessions. But these are still quite early. There's still quite a bit of time and refinement to these plans, fine-tuning the adjacencies within the floor plates. But this gives us a nice level of comfort knowing that any of these concepts are viable at this stage of the game. So starting option 1A, we do have a lot to go through tonight, so I want to kind of keep it high level. But just so you know that all those great guiding principles and fantastic ideas that Bob mentioned are all cooked into these plans, and we'll get into greater detail as we move forward with the option. But we want to keep it high level and keep the conversation moving tonight. So the first option, 1A, would be a renovation in addition to the existing school on the site. You can see the line indicated in red for new construction and renovation. There are some limitations and challenges, obviously, with renovating a school, working around existing geometry. The existing floor to floors are significantly lower than what we would build in a new construction with technology and HVAC. So the floor to floors create some challenges. The building envelope, how the building performs, all that we can work around, but it costs money, right? So bottom line, there would be an significant investment into the existing structure with some compromises to make it work. This concept proposes a 5-story addition on the corner of Sycamore and Evergreen, so 5 stories from grade. So a tall piece of architecture, tall building on the corner. Again, we're trying to preserve as much open space on site. That's kind of one of the main goals of ours. The cafeteria, will be renovated in place. Same thing with the gymnasium, and then I'll walk you through the floor plans in a second. One thing I should highlight on this plan, which you'll see on all of the concepts, we're still highlighting St. Anne's Parish, kind of at the center of the block as potentially, future space, not dedicated for building construction. We don't want to hold up the project, but it can be used as outdoor green space or future play area if that comes through. Also, the City Hall Annex. Again, none of these building plans or concepts are based around acquiring these properties right now, but we see them as a future potential asset. Next slide, please. Hopefully everyone can read this okay. So starting on the left-hand side, this is the existing building, so the lowest level on Medford Street. This is the existing cafeteria and the kitchen. So all those would be renovated in place, build a stage within the existing cafeteria. The next level up, B2, the gymnasium seems adequately sized for the program. And then the blue boxes is where we would suggest housing the pre-K and K. They seem to work okay within that space with a pre-K entrance off of Sycamore. The main level of the building is level 1 with an entrance, off of Sycamore close to where it is now, where you enter into the new addition, which will house art, music, all the administrative spaces, which is that salmon color. Also the community spaces, which are that orange box on the main level, right off the main lobby. Okay.
Sorry.
It's okay.
It'll go away. There we go.
I was going to say, should have updated your blue beam. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Keep going.
We'll self-destruct. The blue on level 1, the blue is we started to create academic neighborhoods for grades 1 and 2 located here. What I should point out is, the building is organized with a main entrance off the main lobby here. To access the gym or the cafeteria from the main lobby, you do have to traverse through academic neighborhoods to get to the gym and the caf. And we know this is not a preferred option, but I just wanted to point that out as a negative. To go to the next slide, please. Over on the left-hand side, the grades 3 and 4 would be carved into the existing building, creating those academic neighborhoods. And then the new addition would house the media center kind of at the corner between the academic neighborhoods. And then those 4 floors would house grades 5, grade 6, 7, and 8, all stacked on top of each other. I should have mentioned, this is for the 690. So this is for the smaller enrollment. And any questions before we roll right into the 950 on this concept? All right, let's keep rolling. This one should be a little bit quicker. So the very same concept. The only difference on this for the larger enrollment is that the new addition gets longer. The learning neighborhoods gets longer towards Thurston to accommodate more academic classrooms. Also, on the bottom left-hand side, we are suggesting a smaller addition to house the stage on the corner of Medford and Sycamore, because the cafeteria, with a larger enrollment, the cafeteria gets larger and bumps that stage outside the footprint of the existing building. The next slide. And here, these slides, you probably couldn't even tell the difference if I tested you. Very similar to the previous concept with the stage addition on this one. Go to the next slide. And then here, again, the only difference on this, some minor differences within, but the plan gets larger. The addition increases in size on this and larger enrollment. Any questions or comments? Okay, let's get to the good ones. All right. So concept or option 2A, this is where we left off after the interview and what we shared last time. This concept takes advantage of the east-west classroom orientation, cutting across the heart of the site, creating that nice dynamic learning neighborhood for the students. We are housing 2 grades per level, again, keeping that small school feel within the school. We are locating the gym, the cafeteria, the media center, those assembly public spaces along Sycamore Street and terracing down the hill as previously presented, taking advantage of the rooftops, terraced areas for secure outdoor learning and play spaces. And then we're activating the 3 corners of the site for the main entrance on the top, an event entrance on the left on Medford, and also a pre-K and K entrance on Thurston off to the side. And the next slide, we can dig in. Again, this is for the 690, so this is for the smaller enrollment. Maybe if we start on the right-hand side, this is really the main floor of the building, level 2. So this is at the top of the hill on Evergreen and Sycamore. where you have the entrance on the corner. We're creating a pedestrian-friendly plaza. So we're creating more plaza space at the intersection. You have nurse, administrative guidance, all overseeing right at the front door with a secure vestibule entering into the lobby, which is really the heart of the school. Off of the lobby, you'll have direct connection to the cafeteria, right down the page. And off that cafeteria, you have your stage, and then direct connection to your outdoor rooftop learning and play space. Again, very similar to the interview concept, which we think was well received. It's great to have the outdoor space directly adjacent to the cafeteria. Over on the right-hand side, you have that. I'm sorry, I'm on level 2. You have the red dot right in the center of the floor plan. This shows that separation between public and private that we're always trying to achieve. So you have the access to all the public spaces through evenings and weekend use without having to circulate through the academic and the quiet part of the school. And we have grades 1 and 2 on this main level, and that circle with the collaboration space. We see the space being designed as a vibrant kind of academic hub with breakout spaces, collaboration zones. We're even carving out a faculty space right at the center of the collaboration zone to support collaboration with faculty members, but also great supervision of that floor itself. If you go downstairs now, if you come down from the main entrance, go one level down, we do have the community space. I know we are trying to, based on the feedback, we're trying to get some of the community space up on that main level, adjacent to the cafeteria and the lobby. So that's one of the adjacencies and the refinements that we try to move forward with if this was the concept that we're going to move forward with. The lower level has the pre-K and K on the right-hand side. The blue boxes, again, similar with a collaboration zone, a faculty touchdown zone with great presence of that floor. They have their own pre-K entrance. So parents can drop off and pick up off of Thurston and guide their child or pick their child up through that dedicated entrance. They have direct access to pre-K and K play area right outside their grade, right outside their classroom block, right on grade at the kind of on a safe, secure part of the site. Working our way to the left down the hallway, we have the music spaces for the school located on this level. And then working farther down, we have the gymnasium. So we would actually lower the gymnasium from that floor a little bit. So there'll be a series of open stair and some ramp, which will give you accessibility down to the gymnasium. And then they'll have direct access from the gym to a multi-use field out on Medford. Covered everything there. So, yeah, so the potential future play would only benefit, pre-K and K. Would be a great location for it. And then the green space across Thurston and the old City Hall Annex. Obviously, we'd be crossing Thurston Street, so we'd look at traffic calming measures if that was used for school use. Next slide. I should mention. Certainly.
Before you move on, staying there, if it's off of the gym, why does that potential future play on Thurston where the St. Anne School only? Why are you thinking of it only as pre-K and K? It feels like it could be a good big playground structure.
Sure. Absolutely. It could be that's a large. So actually, it's if you take too bad we don't have a Google image. The size of that parcel, that dash box right now, if you overlay that on Evergreen, the current site right now, it's about 2/3. So if you look at an aerial view and you don't count the multi-use field, that's the amount of area that encompasses. So it's a decent size, and it can accommodate a number of different uses and different age groups. So thank you for asking for clarification. I should also note there's a small note on the bottom right that you can't read for special education spaces and other support spaces. So those are cooked into those academic neighborhoods. So those light blue boxes do include special education spaces, resource rooms, and other spaces. We're just not defining them right now because we are still refining the adjacencies, but they are worked right into the academic neighborhoods.
Okay. That's better than being cooked. It's all good.
Yes, exactly. We didn't want to distract and get into the weeds just yet, but those are in there.
Great. Okay. Keep rolling, and then I have an overall comment after the other ones.
Sure. Okay, so level 3. So this is one level above the main entrance, right? And this is where we have the media center, again, at the heart of the school. So it'll be visually, you can see it visually accessible from the main entrance, one stair up, one elevator up. You have your art classrooms, and you have grades 3 and 4 with the same collaboration zone. Potential for outdoor learning for this grade group as well for 3 and 4. Level 4, another level up, you get grades 5 and 6 with the art classroom, possibly another rooftop learning connection here as well. And then the top floor, the 5th floor, is for grades 7th and 8th, again, with potential for outdoor learning as well. Yes. The media center is a school library. I think Emily had a question.
I apologize. I'm in a meeting right now. Sorry, I will ask my comment in a moment. Hold on.
Okay. Any other thoughts or questions on this one, on this concept? Maybe we can, while she's chatting, maybe we can go through the 950 enrollment. It's very similar.
It's like Suraj has a question.
Oh, certainly.
I'm sorry, all. I am getting kicked out of the building that I'm in right now. I will rejoin the meeting in about 10 minutes. I apologize.
Okay.
So I have a question. When I see that entrance between the Sycamore Street and then the Evergreen Street, will that be a constraint during the drop-off and then release? Because I think that the Evergreen Ave, that is a two-way traffic, and then the Sycamore Street is the one-way. So that entrance that's seeing in level 2, where
Yes.
these two roads are meeting, will that be viable traffic-wise?
I believe that's, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they used Sycamore previously to drop off along Sycamore. It is a one-way heading north on Sycamore, and Thurston is one-way heading south, and Evergreen is two-way. I do know that the next meeting we have with you folks will be site focused. I think we could dig in more about a drop off and site use at that time. If anyone on our team has anything else to add, please jump in.
We'll also go ahead, Dan.
I was just I think you're right about all of that. I would just say that there are always sort of operational questions that come up, and testing the plans against those operational questions. So how will it work to drop off, say, all the way along Sycamore and drop off maybe closer to Medford, depending on the level of traffic. So how will that work? It seems to be better to do it on a one-way street than a two-way street. The two-way street might tempt people to drop off and send kids across the street in an unsafe way, whereas the one-way street, Sycamore, allows passengers to get out on the school side, the right-hand side of the vehicle, and that seems safer.
I was also just going to add that, as we, I think it was a couple of meetings ago, we had our traffic consultant on the call, whereas we continue to develop these options, they'll be reviewing and providing comments so that we can properly design the drop-off pickup area.
Did that answer your question?
Eric has his hands up.
Yes.
Okay.
I have a question about the rooftop areas. So, I'm sorry, I'm just, this is my first meeting, but I'm imagining that those are going to be some sort of playground type areas. Is that right?
Yeah, and that's. Hey, Eric. Yes, and yeah, you're correct. I think it would be a combination, and that's the next level of program verification, finding out exactly what program is desired and where it is located and accessed from. So a combination of outdoor learning space, play space as well. So dedicated to the school. So without access from grade level.
I would add outdoor classrooms and
yes,
gardens, and there's a variety of things that can be worked in.
I just want to like make sure we think through what maintenance will look like for those spaces. Um, particularly if equipment is required, trash collection, things like that. If like traditionally the city playgrounds are maintained by the grounds division, not, so that would involve somebody coming through the school to enter those spaces to do repairs or maintenance operations. It's like that. So I just want to think that some of that throw away.
Courtney has her hand up.
Yes, so I just wanted to add my 2 cents on the traffic patterns with Sycamore and Evergreen. That has always been problematic, even when we were at about 450 students. The two-way Evergreen, because there's parking on both sides, can cause major traffic jams. And if a bus needs to turn and go down there, there's just not enough space. So we've had times where people have had to back all the way up to make space to let cars pass through. So that just to put that on everybody's radar, that is a very, very problematic area.
We should have a conversation about making Evergreen one way. It would really only impact about 2 or 3 properties, losing the capability to go westbound and then take a right on Sycamore and get to Broadway, as opposed to making it one way westbound or eastbound rather, and then forcing sort of a U-turn down Thurston up Medford up Sycamore. So I think we can definitely explore that at the city level with engineering, mobility, and traffic commission.
There's also some requirements that we're learning too, as far as adding bike lanes and things like that. So all stuff that we'll have to continue to work on and figure out with our team. Okay. Should we continue on to the 925?
Sure. I don't think Emily rejoined, did she? Yeah. We can come back to her question. Yeah, 925. Again, the layout is exactly the same. The learning neighborhood gets larger, gets longer rather, closer towards Thurston. Little tighter. So that's one of the areas that we'll have to study, make sure we get a comfortable entry plaza for the pre-K and K off of Thurston for that entrance. And then the cafeteria gets larger in this concept, so that pushes out towards the gym a little bit more, reducing the outdoor area, but still quite a bit of area above the gym to utilize. But everything else. Oh, Emily's back. And she got her hand up. Okay.
So sorry, it's been a while
No.
since I got kicked out of a university building from a place I graduated from. But anyway, you guys get to see me at my worst. The one comment that I wanted to make, and it was something that was brought up the last time, is density towards Medford Street. And I apologize if someone else has brought this up. When you look at it from an urban standpoint, I'm just understanding that, coming up against that is okay, right? From a density standpoint, as well as maybe not having fields or open space open to Medford, and allowing it more towards Evergreen or Thurston to be a little more protected. So I just wanted to recognize that, that's a comment we made last meeting. And, we're super preliminary. And I think this is sort of a big disclaimer for all of us in that, they're testing spaces and moving them around to make sure it fits. These are not the final locations nor the final configurations. But I do appreciate the work that's been done. Thank you.
So, no, Emily, thank you. Actually, the next concept, we actually studied that. So we heard your comment and request. So we actually have a whole concept building the density closer towards Medford. So
you always anticipate stuff, so you're good.
We can walk through that in a second. Sure.
Looks like Christopher had a question too.
The staff of this school will be massive. Where will they park?
Who wants to take that one?
Does the current Winter Hill School provide parking on site?
It does not. Neither does Brown.
Yeah, so based on the information that we received from the school in the city, as both Brown and Winter Hill staff parks out on the streets. I guess if you're not a city resident, you get a city permit to park on the street. So at this time, we're assuming that's the same approach,
Well,
but we'll
I'd say
continue to look at
recognizing
that.
Chris's position, I think he's aware of that. Chris, do you have additional concerns or a comment that you'd like to add to that?
Well, potentially there'll be more students at this school than both of our schools combined, many more. I don't know how to estimate the staff, but Courtney, would you say 150 to 200 staff members?
Yeah, easily. We're already at about 100 at Edgerly, which is parking is particularly problematic, especially street cleaning and snow. Just to add to that, the thing that has come up, I know that some people who went on the walkthrough, who did the visits a few weeks ago, and people are talking now. Just the underground parking at some of the Cambridge schools is very much talked about.
Parking around the Brown is very difficult. Parking around Winter Hill was always very challenging. So I think if we almost double the size, we can count on parking being a disaster if we don't have a good plan.
Thank you for your comment. Andre?
As a reminder for context, we had the same conversation with the high school. And originally, the new high school was supposed to have an underground parking lot, and the city council decided to not fund it. So we know that at the time at least, it seemed that MSBA wasn't interested in funding it, and the city council declined to fund it. But I would agree that if we could do it, that'd be ideal.
Thank you for the reminder. Courtney?
Sorry, I just want to add, because we've also been displaced to the high school, and parking at the high school is a nightmare. Just to say that, I don't know what was behind that decision, but it's also very problematic.
I'm a Winter Hill parent. I was a Winter Hill resident. I was a Brown School parent for 10 years. I'm now a high school parent going on year 5. All of those things are true. But I want to make sure that we also give Perkins Eastman the time to go through all of it. And let's keep parking as a question that we continue to talk about.
Will do. Do you want me to go to the plans, Mike?
Sure. Yeah, this should go relatively quickly. So this is organized, again, very similar to all the option A's. Option B's are really the academic wings, just get longer. There are smaller, obviously nuanced changes in the program when you go from a smaller to a larger enrollment. But the biggest area is really the classrooms for each grade level. So that classroom wing gets longer, closer towards Thurston. As I mentioned, also another big area change growth is within the cafeteria. Is for the lunch waves to accommodate more students, so that the cafeteria is one of the spaces that grows significantly between them. Also, the media center, the library, that's another space that gets larger as well. But this plan, still has the 3 entrances. It still functions identically to option 2A. If you click up through the next plan, please. So yes, at the upper level is the media center on the left-hand side. That yellow box grows a little bit more. And then you're accommodating more classrooms per academic neighborhood. Again, you still have that central collaboration zone, which can, kind of a fun design opportunity for all of us to work together and create that really fantastic, space that supports the neighborhoods. And then we're still making connections to outdoor rooftop learning wherever we can, right? Obviously knowing that there will be mechanical space up there. We're showing green as a placeholder right now, but trying to carve out spaces for outdoor learning wherever possible. Any more thoughts on this option before we look at the higher density along Medford concept? All right. So this is, again, Emily, based on what we heard last time. And I think that the charge was, push the bulk, and this is for the 690, push the bulk of the density towards Medford. Trying to preserve as much of the open space along Evergreen. And what this study does, it preserves that multi-use field, that label there, you can start to see the topo lines on the site. That's the existing size, the existing multi-use field, just for reference. So what this does, it creates a five-story building. The learning neighborhoods, they're no longer in the east-west to the optimal solar orientation. So that does take a hit, all right, on the performance and the quality of the spaces. But it's not, not the end of the world. We can work around it. It's not ideal. You have the assembly spaces, the gym and the cafeteria, with their access from the main entrance, but also from where it says pre-K K event entrance off of Thurston Ave. So a nice sequence of arrival. You do have one or two consolidated rooftop learning and play areas. There should be a green box above media center there as well. So you do still have some rooftop outdoor play areas. You do have a smaller space on Medford. You'll see that space gets kind of eaten up as the floor plan gets larger from the 690 to the 925. So if you go to the next slide, please. So starting on the main level, again, on the right-hand side, that's the level 2 is the main entrance to the school. All visitors and students being dropped off along Sycamore or Evergreen will enter into the corner, very similar to the previous concept. You have admin, nurse, and guidance all right there at the end of the corridor with eyes on the front door. And then you have your academic neighborhood, which runs straight down Sycamore. We're showing a little articulation, again, just to illustrate that we would work on breaking up the scale of that really long corridor here, which was nice in concepts 2A and B, as we kind of a triangular shaped plan, which is pretty dynamic. And you created that, the illusion of a long corridor didn't really exist because of the geometry, the nature of the plan. This one, I think we'd have to be creative architecturally to help break up that long corridor. But right now we're hinting at creating academic neighborhoods, again, 2 per grade, which works out pretty nicely. Collaboration zones kind of clustered around grades 1 and 2. And that idea kind of stacks up through the building as you see. Community space is located here off the main entrance. Now the plan on the left takes you from the main entrance, you go down those stairs or down the elevator. Now you're on the lower level of the building, which has access off of Thurston, which has nice event entry. You can either enter from the main entry above, down one flight, or you enter right on street level. You enter into the gym and the caf, which has your stage. You have your pre-K and K located on this lowest level. And we're labeling the arrow off of Thurston as a pre-K and K, / event entries, because we heard, Medford might not be the best road to drop off, especially for a younger student. So that's one of the negatives we see from this plan is how the youngest students arrive at the school and that long distance from the entrance. I think we can go to the next plan, please. Thank you. And then the next 3 levels are really your academic neighborhoods, very similar to the previous concepts. It's just that longer corridor that we'd have to break down. You have the media center kind of at the end, that celebrated academic hub of the school, which has possible connections to outdoor learning. You have your art kind of anchoring grades 2 and 3 on level 3. And then as you work your way up to the building, at level 4, again, you have grades 4 and 5. And then the top floor, again, are your oldest students, 7th and 8th. Somehow we got mislabeled here. And then you have connections to rooftop learning on this level as well. So any thoughts in the next, if you click the next one, maybe real quick, and then we can talk about this concept. So this one, the plan gets longer towards Medford Street. It eats into that space. I think that's probably, Emily, that's probably what you guys are picturing, is kind of really building closer to that corner, and in trying to maximize as much open green space to the north on Evergreen. So any thoughts or comments, reactions to this approach?
Suraj?
So how many exits are there in this
There will
concept?
be as many exits that are needed by code. So that is calculated based on the number of students that you have and the stairs and all of that. So I trust that we'll be able to make sure that there are the required exits for code, if that's your concern.
Yes, because I see that there's a very large lobby, and the exit, whatever is at presently seen here, it just look like that in case of emergency, will there be a constraint?
So all of these stairwells and everything will all end up with exterior doors and stuff, but we'll work with our code consultant and make sure that everything's doors are properly located.
No, absolutely. And the question about the assembly space, those are on a lower level with a direct access to grade. So absolutely. Yep.
Superintendent Carmona?
Yeah, I'm looking at the configuration of the classroom in the design that you have, and I see the traditional four cluster, like the cluster of four classes at a time. I know that the AIM program has small subset of classes that actually are small in size because of the way that instruction has to be provided. I didn't know if that's also, again, this is a configuration, but if that is also something that you need to think about, because there are multiple classes that actually are small classes that are probably embedded in each grade level, depending on how we structure the program. But that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah, no, good question. And I think I mentioned earlier, so within those clusters, say, one or one and a half of those blue boxes would be dedicated to some special ed functions, which we know are smaller. We'll subdivide those boxes into smaller spaces. So what we like to do is create a module, like a classroom size module. And then as we look, dig deeper into the smaller classrooms, we subdivide kind of within that classroom module. So yes, those smaller cellular spaces are accounted for in this plan, just not.
So basically a push in special education model?
Yeah.
Is that, I'm confirming that.
It's I could probably help clarify. So the AIM is a sub-separate program, but intentionally dispersed with academics.
Okay. And this is based on a four classroom per grade model, or is just for the module that you're using that works?
Yeah, I think it's about 5 classrooms per grade, which isn't necessarily an increment that you would like to have with certain size teaming, but that's what the program works out to be. Academic classrooms, but then it's also supplemented, as Mike said, with special education and also newcomer academy, also intentionally dispersed.
Great.
This is and what we're looking at right now is a 690. So if we
Yeah.
at least if you can click ahead, yeah, there we go. Actually, back.
Oh, sorry, too far. Apologies.
Yeah.
One thing I can point out, Mike has referred to it a little bit. One of the things that some of the comments from the building tours and some of what we heard in visioning is there is the desire to create neighborhoods and ideally not grades going past other grades to do that, but almost, their own end or wing. So that's something that, the more we move the massing towards Medford Street, the site dictates more of a linear arrangement and less of the, standalone neighborhoods, independent identities.
Courtney?
So I was
Courtney Cosmo and Courtney Gosselin, sorry.
I was one of the people pushing or advocating before to move the building closer to Medford because I do feel that this multi-use space would be better in the back and the building would feel more integrated close up. But I don't think I'm more excited when I see the more trapezoidal, the first shape. It feels more innovative and it's like it's giving something that's special and different, and this feels constrained. So I'm really appreciative that you all spent the time. I think I personally would be more inclined towards the other one. I do want to just note a couple of things while I have the mic. If you could go back to where it said all the music ones, in any of them, one should be relabeled drama. I think we have a drama program, and the drama teacher requested to be near the stage. So whatever you could, as you're thinking about that in the various scenarios, just keep that in mind.
Yes, we do have theater in the program. I think we tried to, it's probably within the green boxes there. We were trying to get away from specifics at this point because it's really just a test fit and things can move around even within a selected option. So.
And Courtney, just to put it in context, anything that Perkins Eastman draws needs to then tie into the space summary template. And those are very prescribed categories. So there might be nuances that you don't see in here yet because we're still in the general phase, but might get more specific as we go along.
Okay, and this is also probably too early, but I know my sixth grader would love lockers, so she actually feels like she's in middle school. So if there's a way, and I know like the Kennedy has that, not Kennedy, Argenziano, on the upper floor is more, feels like a middle school.
Yeah, let's revisit that at the schematic design phase.
Okay.
Absolutely. Courtney Gusson.
Thanks. Yeah, if we could, I just wanted to look at that fifth floor. So looking at that is a lot of, no, the one with the had sixth, seventh, is that the one, sixth, seventh, and eighth all in one space?
That's mislabeled. I apologize. We'll fix this before we distribute. So it should be 7th and 8th on the top floor.
Okay, and then where would sixth grade be?
It shows this diagram shows it kind of good here.
That's correct. So it's a two grade distribution per floor. So very similar to the previous concept.
So if we go back to those plans, the one on the left would be 3, 4.
Yeah, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
4, 5. Sorry, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay, I thought I saw it as 6, 7, and 8 in one floor, and I almost had a heart attack. So
good catch.
Just keeping you on your toes. That's it.
Good catch.
We'll fix that before we send it out to you.
Yeah.
Okay, so where do we go from here? Keep going.
We're still going. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're on Trum. So we have the two options. I think we shared this exact diagram last time. We just dug in and did the same level of study and test fit. So again, it's broken up very similar to the previous concepts of 2 grades per level. If you go to the next plan, I know this is not the preferred site, but we want to, obviously have to take it to a certain level. This site's very challenging, actually. Even with the topographical elevation challenges on Sycamore, this you're really constrained by the streets, the drop-off limitations, working around the existing baseball field, et cetera. But we do still have able to accommodate, this is for the 690 student enrollment. You still have a nice separation of the public spaces on ground level with the gym and the caf. I think there'll be some challenges with deliveries and trash with the cafeteria that we'd have to work around. Main entrance off of Cedar with a central lobby kind of commons area, the community space on the ground level with the adjacency to the caf. So there are some nice adjacencies that are possible here. And then you have your pre-K and K academic neighborhood off to the bottom, again, with those music spaces on the ground level. Once you work your way up through the building, on the left-hand side, you have your media center, again, anchoring the academics. You have grades 1 and 2 with their collaboration zone, your faculty space, your art. Again, getting that small academic, feel, small school feel. Connections, carving out outdoor learning areas wherever we can. Level 3 is grades 3 and 4. Maybe there's an upper portion of the media center that can connect to that rooftop over the gym and the cafeteria. So that's kind of a nice feature here. And then the top 2 floors are grades 5 and 6, and 7th and 8th. Got those right. Again, the oldest students on the top of the building. Once you go to the next slide, please, Lisa, and you can see just how close you're getting to the baseball field. You almost can't fit a driveway. Again, when all this can be refined, and if we had to build it here, I'm sure we can make it work. But at the first glance and first couple test fits, we're finding it quite a challenge to even fit a drive lane between the field and the school. So if you click through the plans, you see the academic wing gets longer, and there's a pinch point. And also the cafeteria, as I mentioned, gets larger to accommodate more students. So all that pushes towards the baseball field. We're very close to setback lines and streets. We would like to be a little bit farther back, ideally. So we're really squeezing it in. And then the upper floors are the same layout, with 2 grades per level. And that is the last one. Now, I don't know if you guys want to discuss this more, or would you like us to run through the
I'm
matrix, or
gonna
just
go out on a limb and say if anybody wants to discuss, say now, or let's just keep rolling. Okay, keep rolling.
All right.
Very good. So, so we drafted a list of evaluation criterias. The items in yellow are evaluation criterias actually listed in the CAG. So when we meet at our next meeting, we'll look at each one of these options that that Mike just went through and evaluate the pros and cons of each one of them. I'm just gonna blow them up a little bit bigger. And the objective here is to share the obviously the options from the CAG are pretty much set, but the ones that we've started to develop based on what we've learned from the community, have you kind of take a read of that and see and get your feedback on what you think is appropriate, or maybe some other things that you think you'd rather have us look at for each one of these options.
Yeah, I think I do want to call out, I know there's been some conversation about sustainability. I think we're going to stay pretty high level now for environmental performance and really think about passive strategies, because all of them will be using you know, appropriate materials and building systems going forward. So I just want to characterize that. I think it's important for us to look to see if there are other criteria that is missing that we as a community want to put forward. Okay.
And I'll just add that, sorry, Dan. This is a very high level because these are very diagrammatic. So educational considerations, we could unpack that into about a dozen things, right? So we're just generally looking at these, and we do see, as we've discussed already, a difference when we force the geometry in certain ways. Some things work better educationally or not quite as envisioned. So think of this entire exercise as kind of a notepad. It's not going to be a numerical ranking to determine your decision. But it does help too. You can see how many options we have going into the next phase. If some get eliminated, I think we talked to the MSBA about could a site be eliminated, and yes, it can. It just helps whittle it down and focus the effort so that we can do more refinements on more of the preferred direction. So I guess keep that in mind for the next meeting.
Yeah, I think I do want to call to everyone's attention the future expansion is a requirement of the MSBA. They basically want to know that if they make the investment in a building and then your student population changes, that you can, you're not completely boxed in, and then you do have opportunity. But that it doesn't mean that we will put an addition onto us. It is a question that the MSBA asks, and so Perkins Eastman rightly put it on the list for an evaluation criteria.
Yeah, I was going to say, and because it's required in a way, that one could come off. It's just there's usually different ways of doing it. In theory, you can enhance the structure so you could add a floor, not that you would ever want to, but you can expand up or out depending on the option.
But that also makes the option a little bit more expensive too, because you have to increase the size of the steel. So
there are pluses and minuses for everything.
Exactly.
Okay, it sounds like we're good.
Dan, were you gonna make a few comments? Dan Aarons?
No,
Okay.
just, other than to say that, please do read these. Please provide feedback if there are, things that we want to edit, expand on, etc. There are thousands of potential criteria, and these are sort of families of those. And what they'll really do is help in a sort of social sciences way support or explain some of the decisions that will be made. So they will first help in making the decision, and then help in explaining, justifying those, so that when people ask questions, we'll have a list of reasons why one option was better or worse than the others. And to Emily, to your point about sustainability, yes, passive strategies are some of those things that do get adjusted because of the shape of the building. Other things like what the materials are in the building, that's going to be equal across all of them. So thank you for that comment.
Yep. Courtney Cosa. I'm not hearing you. You might be on mute.
Sorry.
No worries.
Could we go back to the version 3A and B that moves the building towards Medford? One thing and to go to the massing, please. I'm curious why you did go linear instead of just kind of keeping that shape at the top and moving the whole, like just kind of spinning the whole thing. Like, is there a way that you can still look at this option, but not make it this big linear building? That's kind of what I think I was expecting, and some others.
That's two.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we started there, and that's where if you click to the next screen.
Let me go back to this option.
No, I think maybe the floor plan, the upper level floor plan. You're trying to keep the classroom orientation, Courtney, and then kind of break down. The way we looked at it, it's very narrow there. It's narrow. So to kind of try to maintain an east-west orientation, kind of rotating those classrooms and kind of work our way, hard to describe what I'm talking about, and kind of march our way up the hill. There's some serious challenges.
Mike, I'm not sure if I'm reading the question the same way. Courtney can explain. But one thing that one way I could understand that question is within the yellow shared spaces, could we have angled it to get that dynamic form? And what you see here is that because we've moved the big spaces that have kind of more distinct space, they're like large spaces. They're harder to make, say, triangular, as compared to the classrooms that can kind of be arranged that way. It's not to say that we couldn't adjust this more in that direction, but that's, I think,
I guess
the
I
driver
was thinking, could you go to like the 2B layout? So if you took this whole thing, kept it with the gym in the same place, so it's still a square, you moved it all towards Medford, and then that would just shift the part at the top on Evergreen a little bit to the left, and then like angled, so some of the classroom space might end up towards Sycamore, but the whole thing just shifts. And
you're saying this leg goes down and this piece kind of overlaps
goes
it
to
more.
The left. Yeah.
Something we could look at. Can you look at the move to the massing of this one with the levels?
We lose daylight.
Maybe what you're saying is that you could, like, grades 5 and 6, 7, 8, move across over the gym and the cafe. Is that the kind of
right? And then maybe you end up with some of the green roof space towards Durston if you're doing
instead?
I think what we're hearing is that there's, we as a community are okay with massing towards Medford, and obviously appreciate the orientation of the building, and that's important. But I think, this is going to be an iterative process. And so I think let's continue this conversation. Again, these are preliminary, these are massing. And we will be, I guarantee we'll be having conversations like this over the next couple months of sort of where things are and iteratively. I do appreciate the option 2 versus the option 3 because it raises a good conversation about what a classroom or cluster looks like more towards Evergreen versus what a classroom cluster looks like next to Sycamore, right? And it's just constraints by the site. So I think I think this is a good conversation, and to Courtney's point, maybe there's some more exploration about bringing additional massing towards Medford, but still keeping some of the orientation moves that you've made.
Fair.
Look at us being
Thank
a responsive client. Ha ha ha. All good
Good
stuff.
stuff. All right.
Okay, Lisa, what's next? We've done the evaluation criteria.
So what is next, before we say thank you, is we will work on refining these options. And then, if anyone over the next few days has additional comments on the evaluation criterias, please send those probably to Ken, and Ken will get it over to us, and we can make those edits. And then when we come back next month, we'll present the refined options. We'll have that evaluation criteria all filled out, and we'll be reviewing that with you. And then we'll also be presenting the space summary and the educational program.
So just to be clear, because you mentioned it earlier, actually, I'm going to take Jesse's comment. Go ahead, Jesse.
Oh, thank you. This is just more about the community outreach. I know that it's geared towards parents and students and so on, but I don't know who is in charge of the listserv for that, like the coffee hours and stuff. But I think, it'd be valuable for anybody on this committee to be able to attend those events. And I was made aware of the one tomorrow morning from Laura Patone forwarded me the coffee hour. Probably won't be able to make that, but I would like to attend the virtual evening one. So I'm not on Principal Gosling's newsletter either. So I'm just wondering who would be the point person to send that out to this body.
Can we make sure that can we make sure that the school building committee
Yes.
is invited? Great.
Yes, I'll send around all the dates and everything we're planning in the coming days. I'll make sure it gets to the school building committee as well.
Thank you.
Awesome. And my comment was to queue up if we are looking to have a school committee conversation or a joint meeting next month. Just let's be clear about whether there's anything that we need to vote on ahead of time or if it's informational.
We would like the approval from the school committee for the space summary and the educational program that we'll submit to the MSBA and our PDP report. That
Do
would
they
be our
require
goal.
2 reads before voting?
I'm going to
As a
defer
rule,
to
yes.
Bob on that.
As a rule, yes.
Yes. So they need to have a presentation at their prior meeting, which I believe is the week before, on February 23rd, in order for them to be able to vote on March 2nd. So I just want to highlight that procedurally, if that's a critical date. Thank you, Andre, for confirming that.
We'll go further. The sooner in advance you can get them the report, the better that vote will go. School committee hates when they feel the city is forcing things on them without time to deliver.
So we do have a meeting tomorrow to start that process with the school committee chair to kind of review the MSBA process and start to
Yeah,
work on our
I'm
next
just
steps.
keeping this committee in the loop, obviously, because there's many of us who sort of know that that should go to the school committee prior to March 2nd. Okay. Great. Any questions, comments from this committee about what we've seen tonight? Okay.
Just a quick question, Emily.
Yeah.
So the space summary and the educational plan, is that what is being shared? Just to be clear.
No, those have not been shared.
No, but that's what is going to be shared with the school committee. Is that right?
Yes. The space summary is something that we have been putting together and making the calculations and vetting through the ELT and and some conversations. The educational program is one that is the responsibility of the district, and Mike Carollo and I have been trying to help shepherd and make sure that that is in production, but we do have to reconnect with those that have been working on it to see where we are for progress. So we have less control over that, but we are going to try to help facilitate getting that done.
Let me know if there's anything we can do to help expedite that.
Great.
I'd like to, oh, sorry, there is a comment. Go ahead, Jesse.
Yeah, so just you said anything we saw tonight, and I was just kind of holding back on this because you know, I can be pretty uncompromising as far as I know I keep bringing up the St. Anne's, but that's kind of part of the issue is that I like where Courtney's head is at. I feel really strongly about that, the design configuration of the classes, where it isn't just a straight line. You know, I did attend that school. And in terms of feng shui and lighting and the difference that it will make in the learning environment for these kids, I just really feel strongly about that. I was somebody who talked about density on Medford Street, but it wasn't with regards to the school. It was just with regards to, you know, it being a transit node. And, you know, it also fell into, again, my sort of dream of like, you know, doing a land swap or something, selling a piece close to Medford Street and having a piece of a U shape where it goes over to the St. Anne's, and maybe there's ground level parking at on the level, and then we build up above that at that old school of St. Anne's would be really key for my what I think would be the best case scenario. But I know we're not dealing in that reality we're dealing in right now. I would just say for sure, I the linear higher density towards Medford Street, I would love to see it maybe reconfigured so that we could still achieve that goal, like Courtney was saying, but just move things around a little bit. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for your comment. I wanted to open it up for public comment. We have 2 attendees, and if you'd like to speak or make a comment, please let us know. Okay. We have concluded with all of the agenda items for this meeting. And if so, I would entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, Sean, may I ask you to do a roll call?
For the motion to adjourn, I have made by Ruben, seconded by Rich. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yes.
All right. So we'll go to the vote. Ruben.
Yes.
Courtney Goslin.
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes.
Ed.
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
Courtney Kosla.
Yes.
Emily.
Yes.
Daniel.
Yes.
Suraj.
Yes.
Rich.
Yes.
Mayor Wilson.
Yes.
Andre. And Eric.
Yes.
I
Great.
think
Thank you,
that's it.
Sean. I will see you all at our next meeting.
Can I just note my attendance? Because I wasn't here for roll call, and I didn't get called for the adjournment. So
Sorry, Jesse.
That's okay. I was just a few minutes late tuning in. Thank you.
Apologize. Are you all for the agenda for the adjournment?
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Awesome. Have a great evening all.
Thank you.
Thank you.